Can I get a mansion in less than 24 hours from level 1 in GTA 5 Online? Yes, I have made the same similar video from a year ago with the goal of buying the Oppressor Mark II for $8 million, and I failed miserably. But after the latest update from Rockstars, we got some new things, including the mansions, with the cheapest price of 11 millions. That is at least 37% more expensive, even without the discount. But with the knowledge and experience I currently have, and after making a few GTA challenges over the year, I think I can do it. So today, I'm gonna speedrun my way through the elites and riches in only 24 hours. And putting on the similar rules with slight changes of having 3 properties excluding the mansion, 1 supercar that costs more than $1 million, a brand new mansion of choice, and I have to do everything solo. No help from anyone. That includes asking for a few bucks to buy the game itself from my brand new Steam account, because I thought it would be nice to start from the very beginning. But looks like, even by purchasing the enhanced version nowadays, you cannot even buy the base game anymore without a shark card bonus. So I decided to scrap the idea and use my usual account to do the challenge. Now of course I spent all my money to the very last cent and deleted the character. Just to make sure we started fresh. I made a new character with $0, 0 bonuses, and 0 bitches. I want you guys to keep this in mind. 24 hours is a very short time, so I'm gonna use every second of it to be as productive as possible. The first thing I need to get is weapons. However, I need some money in order to get some of the essential ones, so I decided to take a job as a newspaper delivery at the Los Santos Meteor. The job is very simple, but I believe any of you damn rich people won't understand the sweat of having to travel to 10 different locations and only receive 23,000 for a day. Yeah, a single job, 23,000 bro. Inflation is real. But the job only took around 7 minutes, and right after completing, I quickly opened my phone to buy my first property, and that is a free apartment. The reason I picked this one, not only because it's free, but this apartment has the best location to strategize the spawn point in order to start the certain missions that we will get into it later. Another reason is for the garage that can store 2 vehicles, and that's right, we only need 2. I bought a bike, a Pegasi Vortex, and a car, that is the Duke of Death. Both of them are free, but a little spoiler here, I ended up only using the Vortex the entire playthrough. Reaching the ammunition, my next objective is getting all the necessary weapons. I thought using free weapons are enough, but the bad news is, I couldn't attach a silencer on the compact rifle. So I bought a special carbine instead, and apparently I got not enough money to buy the silencer.
Oh shit.
Well, no use crying over spilled milk, they said. I'll pick up another free weapons like the marksman rifle and spend the rest of my money on sticky bombs and grenades. To kickstart the wealth and without wasting any more time, we're hitting the Cluckin Bell raid. But I'm gonna do this differently this time. As we met Vince on his early days as an LSPD, I unfortunately unable to skip the cutscene because this is my first time playing. But that's okay, the cutscene will last around 3 minutes and I'm gonna use this moment to explain a little bit. The Cluckin Bell raid will give you 500,000 as the base reward on completion, and these sets of missions can be tackled in under 45 minutes, or even better, in 30 minutes. I've done the speedrun method multiple times on my other videos, so I'm gonna replay the same procedure on this one. This is the easiest first day payout, and since I've speedrun this mission before, we're clearing it in record time. So this might be a little overwhelming for a first time player, but I want you guys to keep in mind that most of the stuff's happening in the missions, we can easily ignore them. Just like the first mission, slush and fun. I don't need to kill anyone actually when reaching point A, and just went straight to the laundry. Now one thing I have to pay attention is, because I'm still at low level, that means a few shots can get me killed quite easily. But don't worry, once inside, it's gonna be a cakewalk from now on. There are always gonna be 3 people inside, so if you only see 2, prepare the grenades because the last one is inside the closet. Not because he is gay, but because he's putting the element of surprise. Well, I somehow missed the grenade, but that isn't the issue at all, and that happens quite often actually. But once I got all the money, I get out from the building and ignore everyone to get to point B, where I accidentally did another oopsies by blowing myself up because I was nervous as hell. But the method is pretty much correct to the nature because I need to blow the truck to stun all the enemies so they can buy me sometime when I rush my way to the door. Now I did the same thing, after that I escaped, then boom, done. In only 6 minutes. Could be faster if I didn't die. Second mission is pretty much, I don't know. Not much tips I could say, I mean just do things normally and avoid any hit and run accident along the way. The mission itself is pretty long though, however, it's the opposite on the third mission. Getting the armor and weapons. This can be a very short missions as even the objectives gives us a selection of choice within weapons and armors, but we only look for one single brand. And that is everything related to Mexican handicraft. Always pick A. Now correct me if I'm wrong on this one, okay? But I heard you can easily spot the body armor by exploding all the cars. And the one that has the armor inside wouldn't get exploded.
So that was a fucking lie.
I think I must did something wrong beforehand, but I don't know. Unfortunately, I have to restart and do things normally this time because, yeah, it's buggy like that. I don't know, man. But regardless, I only wasted 7 minutes on my oopsies, so yeah, there's always room for another retry for this one. Now, same case with the equipments. The getaway cars, we also get them from the Mexicans. Always pick A. I'm gonna be repeating this until it was planted in your head, bro. I don't care how flashy, bouncy or slow the car was. It's more than enough for kicking that 30 to 40 minute speedrun. I follow the train tracks to get to the safe house faster and we're good to go. Good to go? Nah, bro, there's one more mission that somehow looked differently from what I remembered. The disorganized crime. Because I'm playing for the first time, apparently I couldn't just rush to the warehouses like I did in my previous video. The game won't let me go inside at all this time. Yes, I did check all the 3 warehouses and none of them letting me inside. But I didn't restart the missions and went straight to both vans and hacked them as this is what I'm supposed to do. So another spoiler ahead, but this is very important actually. Apparently upon replaying the Cluckin Bell raid, I still couldn't enter the warehouse without hacking the van. And if I may, let me explain this by putting on my tinfoil hat right now. So I'm assuming the only way I'm able to enter the warehouse without having to hack the van is when I already played the Cluckin Bell missions at least 3 times. And each of them has to be located on 3 different warehouses. Basically, I have to unlock a different warehouse during the setup every time I started the Cluckin Bell raid. The RNG is not very nice, I tell you that. But I don't know. Let me know in the comments if I'm right or wrong on this one because I'm genuinely confused. Anyway, I storm the warehouse, get the keycard while sabotaging all the trucks and wipe the CCTV clean, like I wipe my ass from the back to the front. We're entering 1 hour in and I'm already at the finale. I'll say this finale might be the easiest missions with the highest payout compared to the others I'm gonna do afterwards. The first and foremost mindset for this is I have to go stealth all the way to the end. Not because you cannot go in loud, but it's much easier to pull off without any of the goons spawning every minute. But if I'm being honest here, the only hard part is the beginning of the mission. Sometimes if I miss a shot on the 2 guys in the hallway, the alarm will start ringing. But since I did it perfectly, we shouldn't worry about it at all and continue the missions accordingly. I got all the white stuffs from the basements and all the chemicals in the other warehouse, 2 of them by the way, and proceeded to find the key to enter the office room. The key is super necessary, because if you didn't find it, you have to shoot the lock and they will trigger the alarm. But that should be everything, because from now on, it's all gonna be a cakewalk. For the escape part, just run. Take my fat ass moonbeam and follow the railroad. Maybe switch to my bike midway because it's much faster. In only 1 hour and 20 minutes, I managed to beat the Cluckin Bell raid. Vince was very happy, and so was I.
Until next time.
I got 500,000 as the reward and I managed to beat the whole missions in under 45 minutes. That's right, good stuff right here. Also, for the first time completion, there is some additional reward of 250k. So in total, I got $750,000. With all the money I have, I straight up spent some of it for a compact launcher, which I completely forgotten that it was free. Also, I spent some more on attachments for my beautiful carbines, especially the silencer, because we're gonna need it for the thing we're about to do. Oh wait, I actually forgot one more weapon that I actually needed the most. Yeah, the homing launcher. We're not stopping anytime soon. This is still some early game methods and I'm trying to complete the setup with minimal equipment at best. The latest update from Rockstar introduced a new set of missions called the No Way Out. Compared to the Cluckin Bell, it has longer and more challenging missions in a different way. But the most important thing about this one, it has a speedrun challenge. Instead of 45 minutes, we have the 60-minute speedrun. It's gonna be worth it since the Cluckin Bell has 1 hour cooldown after completion. Starting the No Way Out, I got introduced to the payphone cutscenes with your boy Avi on the other side. He's talking about technology and stuffs, but it seems like Rockstar cutting out budgets for the animators because almost every cutscenes are only me and the payphone with different angles. I did the speedrun literally on my previous video, so the memory is still fresh from the oven. Especially since right now, I got more weapons of choice than before. We got a second cutscene on my first time playing experience, so I gotta watch this one as well. But basically, the most time-consuming part is the cutscene, because we always got one on every missions and they're pretty much the lazy approach of mission briefing. Now, looking back at it, I have to do everything normally on the No Way missions, so there isn't a lot of tips and tricks as well. Therefore, this time I'm only emphasizing certain parts of the missions. For the negative press, the first encounter with the No Way company led me to committing manslaughter in the depot. But I forgot to eat snacks to tank the attack, therefore I died. Keep in mind, I'm currently at level 9, so a few bullets will take me to the afterlife straight up. But a few shooting and explosions here and there still made up for my mistakes before. The next part is the easy part, where I have to drive the robo-taxi and complete the challenge given by the devil himself. But the most time-consuming part is actually on the next one. After destroying the No Way reputations, I have to level up the smearing campaign by destroying the promotional billboard and the rest of the taxis roaming around Los Santos. This is why I got the compact launcher so I can destroy them without having an issue. However, on my last video, there is an issue on the last billboard, and this is when the homing launcher comes to play. The projectiles on the compact launcher will bounce away on a single layer billboard, so I have to use something that will explode upon contact. Let's keep it real. All the missions here usually took a long time to beat, but there's always some shortcuts exist within them. Like the inside job over here. Instead of waiting for our guy to blow up the car, I just did it myself. I said this before and I said it again. This one mission specifically is the main reason why I bought the bike. You can see a lot of fireworks happening every time I'm going inside the building, but that is the easiest part of the mission. Once I got all the data, I went straight to my bike, head to the right and past the narrow passage between the red containers and we good to go. Don't eat while driving, guys, but in my case, I have to eat while driving or else I might end up dead. Still, my favorite mission though. But where I usually ended up dead is always on the third mission, the tunnel vision. There's a part where I have to retrieve the briefcase after killing the hardworking engineer and his bodyguards. Right after getting the bikes that Avi stored inside the tunnel. Poof! What just happened? What did I do? Okay, it doesn't matter. I went back to get the briefcase. But once I put my hands on the bag, a lot of enemies will show up. Now, I usually getting killed at least once in this part, but since I got no getaway vehicle whatsoever, and I also refused to use the tram to get away, I made my way slowly while killing every breathing living being and decided to steal the bike from one of the guards. This is my successful speedrun attempt, by the way, so apparently doing all of this didn't really waste too much time. Now, for the second longest mission in the list. This might be the second time we're role-playing as a garbage man. If you remember when was the first time, let me know in the comments down below. So to put the summary on this one, basically you want to keep everything stealth and slowly dismantle the CCTV and the guards before picking up the blue trash bags. I mean, it does works well with the first and second location, but maybe set up the truck to block the entrance on the second locations because there will be a scheduled garbage man arrive shortly after. So yeah, don't let them get inside. But the main reason why this mission took so long, not only because we have to drive a slow-ass garbage truck, that's actually one part of it, but we also have to visit 3 locations in total to look for the data. Even the last location requires me to hack the gate and the door before entering the room where 2 data is located. I mean, getting the data is much easier once I realize we only have to take down 4 blind people inside. Oh, you think we're done? Of course not. I have to chase the FIB van that ran away from the building before finally finishing the mission. Might be the longest mission, but it's much easier if you already played it multiple times. Now, for the finale here. Actually, there isn't much shortcut whatsoever.
The second step is that I've called the feds and they're going to arrest you. Now don't freak out!
I basically just went along as how it should be played, but there's one thing I want to point out here. The Elite Challenge. On my previous video, I was unable to complete the challenge due to my weapon limitation, but as promised, right now, I'm gonna be the challenge, okay? No, actually, in fact, I have to be the challenge because upon completing, instead of getting 500k, you will get 600k. That's a good amount of money. But the issue that I had before is about the 35 headshots. With having the special carbine right now, it should be easy.
Why won't you talk?
Well, that if my stuffs didn't get confiscated by the FIBs and somehow they have worse security than my local convenience stores. I get them back and start doing the 35 headshots. So after killing everyone stealthily, finished the hack and a few more will show up on that floor. I think it's around 5 to 6 people. After that, it's not worth waiting on this floor, so I just went up the stairs and there will be a lot more on the top. And a little bit more on the roof. And apparently they killed my boy Brandon Darcy, man. Anyway, you should be able to kill them fast enough before getting into the chopper, but then my nightmare turned into reality. And no, I wasn't talking about the Black Hawk Down situation. So, on the beach section, the firefight will be more difficult as the FIB will bring out the chopper. My intention is to kill as many as possible before the chopper arrives, but then I forgot I only have half of my health. Now, why is this a bad news? If I died, the elite challenge is completely failed, and the only reason to prevent this is to restart the mission. But right now I cannot do that, and that is definitely not the option when doing a speedrun. So I accept my L and took that 500k instead. But hey, I still got the 60 minutes challenge though, and another 250k as my first time bonus. Now I want you to keep another thing in your mind, that I will never back down and took the L for the second time. I have learned my lessons, and you know what? Actually my future attempts of these missions like the Cluckin Bell and the No Way Out should be able to tackle down much faster because we can now skip the cutscenes. With having 1.3 million in the bank, and while waiting for another 60 minutes for the cooldown, I can now move to phase 2. By buying the Mackenzie hangar that cost 1.4 million? Shit man, if that elite challenge was successful. What? No time for regret. Keep the grind going. So at this point, I can actually redo the Cluckin Bell to gain more money, but instead, I sided with the smelliest junkies in America. The first those missions introduced me to Dax, Ron, Luchadora, and a long ass cutscene. But basically by helping Dex throughout the mission, I got 50k bonus for each mission. And by completing the first dose and last dose, they will give you a free EV supercar. But the journey is still too far ahead. So right now, I only played the first and second mission. That for an extra 100k to buy the hangar. Alright, so I never expect to put the Oscar Guzman flies again as my 24-hour speedrun method. But to be able to buy the hangar in under 3 hours in is a sign that this might be the successful run. The exact reason I got the hangar is the 60-minute speedrun challenge, same as the Cluckin Bell and the No Way Out. That means the entire mission can be done in less than an hour, which is a lot of time saver right there. The Oscar Guzman flies again is gonna be a staple money-making method from now on, and it will be replacing the Cluckin Bell raid in the future. However, as a first-time player at the moment, I could only play on normal, which reduced the amount of reward I should get. It's fine, as we still have plenty of time. So be good with me, Oscar. Compared to the other missions I played before, this one is surely testing my skill and requires a lot of RNG bullshits as well. But let's not get ahead of myself and start with climbing the mountain and place the C4 to the tower. Don't mind the Calgar as long as I stay on my bike. There wouldn't be a 1,000,000 to 1 chance of me getting killed. Next, I blasted the plane, get all the 4 cargoes before getting gunned down from the sky, and that's it. Mission 1 done. Of course, I save every second possible, so every time I'm done with one mission, I just move to another lobby so I can spawn inside the hangar. Now, for mission 2, this is where RNG comes to play. To steal the mogul, as Oscar said in the phone, I have to fly a long way to an unmarked base in the middle of nowhere. It looks heavily guarded, but it's actually not. I safely park my Velum on the right side of the base and proceed to jump into the closest mogul because somehow, no one even noticing a freaking plane just landed nearby. When bringing the mogul back to the hangar, 3 Ebonheart fighter jets will intercept. Now, this is when you pray to God, so the RNG will be very nice like mine over here, and took 2 planes out of nowhere before reaching Oscar. But this can be a two-edged sword kind of thing. In the future, I experienced some weird stuff that I had to take out the remaining 2 planes by myself because Oscar only shoot 1 RPG and that's it. Even to this day, I don't know what's causing that to happen, but I can only be grateful that it didn't happen as for now. For the rest, I just do things normally like bombing some bases and we're done. But we have another RNG stuffs on the 3rd mission where we gather intel by using drones. And I'm not talking about the drones here, I was talking about the next part. So after hacking, I was tasked by Oscar to dive under the sea to find a few cargoes. There are a few enemies here, but it's best to ignore them and equip my super suit. I mean my swimsuit. So there are 4 cargoes in total and every single one of them will be put in the different locations every time you play it. However, there's a catch. They might seem to be randomized, but actually, only 5 initial locations as their spawn point. To mark the spot to make it easier, take a look at the big steel plate and the sinking ship. Those two will be my pinpoint markers to spot the cargoes. So, one cargo should spawn on the northeast side of the steel plate, located in the middle of the seaweeds. Past the steel plate now, second cargo should be inside the container on the lower hill to the left. The third one is usually close to the sinking ship. It's either on the front side of the ship or the back side of it. Mine is actually on the front, which is pretty rare, considering how many times I played this mission. The fourth spawn location is a bit further behind the ship. There are a bunch of industrial goods and that's one of the potential spawn point, which nothing there this time. But that means the last cargo should be on the last container nearby. Okay, that's done. Now the final part is just... oh yeah, sure, shark, whatever. But I was saying, the final part is just get into your bike, which is super easy and not a single risk outside of getting shot. Now, speaking about getting shot, I received a lot of shots, especially back shots on the fourth mission. Getting the Iron Mule. Basically, the key point to complete this mission perfectly is by getting good. My advice is get some snacks, ammo, and an armored car if possible. I refuse to use the Duke of Death here because I was too lazy to call the mechanic, but yeah, go get your own chopper. And well, if you can, get the Insurgent as well. Even though I don't quite recommend it because it ain't gonna give you anything at the end of the day, but you do you, I guess. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you. We might not have any cutscenes during the setup process, but every time I started a new mission for the first time, Oscar will have a long conversations through the phone. If you are doing the speedrun, you might want to consider this as well. Next mission will require Oscar to fly the plane, but somehow it's buggy as hell. It took a few seconds before he flew the plane, even though I'm inside already. I don't know what's causing this, to be honest, because on my other video, this never happened at all. But this time, it happens all the time. But the good thing is, the mission is still a go, and the only thing you need here is the Titan ammo, which has a green mark on top of it. I usually got the armor as well, but this time, I'll try to do it without it since we wasted a bunch of time already. But worry not, even if you think the finale will take like 30 minutes to complete, because as you can see, we gotta fly with Oscar and shoot the plane that took only 1 damage every hit. The mission actually only took 20 minutes maximum. The hard part is straight up when I had to jump off the plane to fix the Titan. Can you even imagine fixing a plane engine by my own hand in the middle of the battlefield? But I think I was pretty much lucky on my first attempt to fix the engine before the second wave of reinforcements arrived. After that, Oscar will drop the ammunitions and all I have to do is ignore all gunshots nearby and keep moving the shell to the plane. That's right, one by one. Now if you watched the John Wick video I made before, there is an issue if you play this mission on PC. While flying the Titan, as a pilot, you can also operate the 40mm gun by yourself, and if you look into it, to exit the gun camera, it has the same button as exiting the vehicles. This button will somehow conflict when approaching the submarine. I knew this will happen again, so I switched the key binding before the mission starts and I finished the rest of the missions with straight A's. The submarine and the trains are no more. I delivered the plane to Oscar and he's pleased with the result. I also pleased with all the works, especially when received yet another 500,000 as the reward with 250k as the first time bonus as usual. But unfortunately this time I was unable to beat it in under 60 minutes due to a lot of cutscenes and stuffs. But this is just a beginning. I'll do better in the future attempts. Right, so if you didn't know already, the 24-hour speedrun is not actually 24 hours, but I was referring to the in-game hours. That means there are a few times where I have to go to sleep, and I stop playing games completely like a regular functioning adult. This makes the cooldown time much shorter on the timer, just to clear out some things, alright? So right now, my bank account is back at 700,000, but the great news is, all the setup is almost complete. And it's time for me to replay every single one of them without the cutscenes. By doing all of them in order starting from Cluckin Bell, and apparently I found out that I still couldn't enter the warehouse without hacking the van. This might proven my hypothesis before, but there you go, easy 500k. Next, on the No Way Out, I found myself to be in the bad positions this time as I died a lot more than I expected, but the one that pissed me off the most is when stealing the briefcase like I said before. But regardless, I still did pretty well all the way through the end. During the clean break, I managed to kill a good amount of those FIB cops, and when reaching the beach shootout, I remember to get my snacks ready before cleaning the entire beach. Also, the craziest thing is, I don't have to drive anything to reach the jet ski. Walking and shooting is very much optimal method by all means. With that, I beat the Elite Challenge in only 8 minutes with 37 headshots. I didn't count at all, by the way. And rewarded with around 600,000 in total. Nice. By this point, Oscar's mission should be available again, and I have unlocked the hard mode, which will give me more money and also I can skip the cutscenes as well. What a beautiful day to live. Now, unfortunately, the bugs still exist and the enemies are a bit more ruthless than before. Mostly happened on the last missions though, so I think dying once or twice doesn't really impact the speedrun. I got 750,000 as the reward on playing hard. Also, I noticed we only have a small window of mistakes to tackle the 60 minutes challenge, so the main reason I didn't get the achievements is mostly because of the bugs on the mogul missions and this mission right here. But whatever, I got the money anyway. 6 hours and almost 45 minutes, and I have 2.6 million. It's time for phase 3, everybody. I'm positive about this. This is Miguel Madrazo. He's the guy that will give a huge money-making opportunity with the cost of 5 minutes of my time to watch the cutscene. But hey, a small price to pay to watch Patricia get f***ed by Trevor. Excuse my language. Watching the cutscene is necessary for us to unlock the submarine.
First and fucking foremost, you're obviously going to need a submarine.
That costs 2.2 million. However, in order to do the Cayo Perico heist, a sparrow is pretty much needed. Or it's gonna end it up took a lot of my time. I'm speaking from experience, by the way. The sparrow itself costs 1.8 million, with 240k for the additional homing missiles. Yikes, dog. So I decided to only buy the submarine and back on grinding money for the sparrow specifically. Should only take another hour, I thought. Now of course, at this point, there weren't any harmful mistakes, so completing the elite challenge is a must. However, a new form of activity that will give you a quick 250k is the SHW time trial. On the enhanced version, a guy named Hao will provide us with the high speed, fully tuned and barely working brakes of a car. This is an easy 250k. Really, dude? Okay, I thought restarting might solve the problem, but apparently I have to watch the cutscenes again, bro! After beating the time trial and after multiple road accidents, I managed to beat the time in 6 minutes. I got a special discount from Hao and $0 for the completion. Like, what the hell, man? And after finding out, apparently if you want to get paid, you have to play the one that requires your own vehicle, which I didn't have. What a waste of my precious time. I played another Oscars missions and finally made it to 1.8 million. With that amount of money, I can confidently start the Cayo Perico heist. Now, before we start, I need to point out why I picked Cayo Perico instead of the Dr. Dre's mission. Both of them took a long time for the first time playing. However, for Cayo Perico, the only time-consuming part is only the cutscenes that we're about to start. Going into the plane with Dave, Kinda Music, and Dr. Dre.
Hey, but I hope you brought the music. Tell me you brought the music.
Oh wait, they cancelled the trip. And 2 more cutscenes before leaving the island and the finale. For the agency, there are at least 9 missions needs to be done, and that excludes the 2 other missions on the beginning. Also, there are a few minutes cooldown between missions, and not to mention, there are a bunch of cutscenes that I expected. Cayo Perico might have 3 hours cooldown, but the agency requires almost 3 hours to finish the whole thing, for the first time. Well, maybe not 3 hours, but 2 hours is also a long time, and we only got a fixed reward of $1 million. So yeah, that's why I prefer Cayo Perico for this time. Now let's go back. You might call this an Epstein Island while at it, since I'll be infiltrating the island during the party. This method and approach is pretty much the same when replaying it over and over again. After I followed what Pavel told me to do, like hacking the signal tower, watching a National Geographic went wrong, and identify the price, which always the Madrazo file for the first time playing. I went around the island using a stolen boat I found in the dock and dived down to unlock the drainage tunnel for our entry point. This is very important and 100% necessary, as the reason I failed a year ago is because I forgot to look for the drainage tunnel. With around 30 minutes spent on the scout mission, I can start the setups now, which is the easiest part of this heist. So I'm just gonna tell you what to pick, because how you manage to complete every setup is basically how Rockstar's intended to be. The first thing to get is the infiltration vehicle, which I always pick Longfin. I used to choose the submarine, but Longfin has the easiest missions and the fastest vehicle to get you inside. Because I get the file as a primary target, the safe code is mandatory to get from inside the casino. I just have to kill the guy with the fedora and get the code from him. Next equipment is the fingerprint cloner, also mandatory. Not much of a gunfight happening, so it's all good. But to get the cutting torch, it's gonna be the opposite of that. Usually when having a homing rockets installed on the Sparrow, things gonna get chaotic in seconds, but going in by foot apparently works just fine. As for the weapons, I always pick the Conspirator, and I always avoid whenever the game told me to go to Meriwether HQ. Like, I'm serious, bro. Every time you get this objective, restart. It's not worth the time. The finale. This is everyone's cup of tea, and so is mine. I failed back then because I wasn't playing enough at the time, but right now, I am so good at it that I don't even... Yeah, so the problem with Cayo Perico, not really a big problem, just a small tiny bit once. It will totally ruin the entire thing, so the best option is to restart. It wouldn't take a bunch of time, just a few seconds, or minutes perhaps. However, in my case, I have no idea, but I discovered a new bug. I should probably get an award for discovering this, but somehow I have to redo the weapon setup again. A great game, Rockstar. Anyway, Cayo Perico starts right now on the North Dock, but that's because it's the only approach I had currently. And where I'm going right now is to the airstrip. The reason is very simple, I want to fill up my bag before going to the compound. There are only a few enemies here, but they are pretty much crucial to kill if I manage to leave a tiny spot in my bag. So there are 4 potential grabs I could get in this one hangar, and the other 2 can only be accessed using a forklift. Get one of the crate and use it as a stepping platform. Yep, I got 2 more stuffs I can get and that filled my bag. Unfortunately, I only got cash and weeds, which are the lowest value. Well, obviously, if compared to cocaine and gold, right? So the next part is to get back to the boat and make my way to the drainage tunnel. Okay, so I learned the easiest way to avoid all the problematic occurrences by going on the roof, then proceed as usual by killing one guy, then go up the stairs. However, there is one more bug. I don't know if this one can be called a bug, but if so, this is the most idiotic bug to ever exist. That somehow I couldn't melee the guy in that range, bro. Holy f***, I was furious. So I wasted around 10 minutes to just reach this point again. But I've learned my lesson, so I waited for the guy to stop and give him a slap on the head. I went up the stairs, opened up the hidden case, and got the additional $60,000 before advancing to hack the elevator. To safely hack the fingerprint scanner, just remember to move every part of the components to be on the top part of the fingerprint. Then move down and slide to the right 1 time, go down again and slide to the right 2 times, go down, slide to the right 3 times, you get the idea. Now do that for all the scanners, and once that's done, I went down, opened the door and get the files. Now, let's skedaddle my way out real quick. Unless, it cannot be that quick. I have to be a little patient because sometimes the Juggernaut will walk in near the balcony and I don't want to take any chances. After that, I escaped safely with a short cutscene of me figuring out how to open the door. And so, we're good to go. Take the bike and swim my way back to Los Santos, and that's that. I met again with Miguel, still wet, and still has that Epstein's flavor oozing from my body. But I got the files and watch it burn as Miguel throw it to the campfire, reducing it to ashes as he wanted to forget what he just saw. So I got 1.4 million by completing the Elite Challenge. I also got another 50k, not much, right? I mean, that's okay. But what surprised me, I got an extra 750,000 out of nowhere. But after looking for more info, apparently the money was from all the awards I got. Now that's a worthwhile reward right there. Unfortunately, everything will become harder from this point. 11 hours in. I had all the setups ready, 3 properties are acquired, and the only thing I have to do right now is grind. Final phase, redoing everything until I can buy a mansion. When I said things gonna go downhill from now on, I wasn't lying at all. So because the Cayo Perico heist has 2 hours and 44 minutes cooldown, I might be able to do 1 hour of Oscar Guzman, which I noticed here that the first missions actually took longer than usual because Oscar refused to destroy the jets. And then another 1 hour of the No Way Out, but because I was continuing the recording on the next day, that means Cayo Perico is already available, so I'm picking that one because it gives the most money. Even though I only got the Cincy Mito Tequila, bro, which only gave me like 1 million in total, but that's still a lot more compared to the other 2. Then I finally proceed to go with the No Way Out. Not too smoothly this time, but I believe I still finish it in under 1 hour. So I guess, looking at the durations of the single footage, I usually only spend 3 to 4 hours max on one recording session. That means most of the time, I could only do 3 sets of missions that if I didn't mess up during the process. Everything seems to be walking just fine. Now I said walking because it's a slow progress. As you can see, the money is gradually increasing in a significant amount, but same goes for the timer as well. Until I finally reach the 20 hours mark with $8 million in the bank. Okay, at this point, I might not be able to make it as it took me around 3 hours to make a solid 2 million so far. And after taking a few little minutes to investigate the source of the problem, I noticed the biggest reason I couldn't reach 11 million is because I got Sin Simito Tequila every time I played Cayo Perico. That thing gives the lowest possible reward out of all rewards available with only 1 million in total even after beating the Elite Challenge. I have beaten Cayo Perico 4 times at this moment and 3 of them are Sin Simito Tequila.
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
Now this isn't a bug or anything, and apparently the adjustments were introduced after an update a while ago, with the tequila having the largest percentage in the prize pool, 60% chance of reappearing if you play the heist right away once the cooldown is over. That actually really bad. But there is a way to avoid the tequila by waiting 72 hours after completing the heist. We absolutely got no time for that. This means I might have to accept a devastating defeat once again. Hold on, actually, I do have one last solution for this. So in GTA, we always have the option to cancel a heist. This applied for Cayo Perico as well. And by cancelling the heist, I might have a different price on the next one I start. However, there's a catch. Starting off the heist, I have to spend 100,000 for the setup fee, and if I cancel the whole operation, the money couldn't get refunded, and not only the money, since we are doing a speedrun at the moment, the time also couldn't get refunded. Because in order to know what price you will get on that heist, you have to play the scouting mission beforehand, which take around 10 to 15 minutes if you remember the route. But for me personally, I think this is the most reasonable action I have to take. Therefore, after scouting the heist and got another shit Simito Tequila, I pulled the plug and gambled another 100k for another one. Hopefully this one is anything but that. And thank God, it's the bonds! Dude, I was so happy seeing the empty glass, man. The bearer bonds cost $770,000 as the base value. Only 100,000 more compared to the tequila, but with the support of the secondary target, I believe I could reach around 1.2 million net. 21 hours and 15 minutes. I'm right at the finale, and when I was collecting the secondary target, the amount of loot were unexpectedly low. I only got cash on 4 spots inside the hangar that obviously didn't fill my bag, so I have to go to the warehouse across the hangar. I don't like this method because I have to kill one guy from afar and I'm not quite confident with my accuracy at the moment. But I managed to clean the area with minimal dead bodies laying on the ground. But again, the last available loot is also a big pile of cash, which made the total loot to be less than $400,000.
Broke boy, ahahaha!
After beating the heist, the total amount I got is still only 1 million. So I'm at a deficit investment right now. The game did me dirty for real. But I didn't give up. I still have 2.5 hours left, so I'll make sure to do the Oscar Guzman and the No Way Out for the last time. Also, I just checked, apparently I managed to beat the 60-minute speedrun on the Oscar Guzman at some point, but I don't know when specifically. By completing both operations, I got around 1.2 million in 23 hours in, which make in total of $11.1 million. Well boys, somehow I made it. Now to close the video... Wait, what the... It cost 11.5 million! Okay, I still have 1 hour left. Let's think of a solution here. I was in panic mode at the moment, but I also realized I only need $400,000. I was planning to do the last Cluckin Bell raid, however due to my panic state, I'm afraid I would butcher the run and fail the entire thing. So, my resolve here is actually finishing what I started in the first place. By completing all the first dose missions, I could get 500,000 in total, excluding the mission reward itself. I have played the first and second missions early in this video, so now I'm planning on finishing it. That if I'm able to raise the time. I totally forgot that some missions can be a pain in the ass, like destroying the lost property like Trevor did, with the cherry on the top of stealing a dodo plane that somehow took a few seconds to trigger the objective. But regardless, I'm trying to not mess up my final moment here, and here comes the most frustrating part of the mission. The final part of the first dose, where I have to crash human labs that leads to bioterrorism charge. In order to collect all the 5 camps, I have to carefully open the containers. At the same time, I have to fight my way through Meriwether's and their chopper. Did I die? Absolutely. But I was also feeling a bit lucky because I only died once. This is very stressful to me. But one thing I keep in mind, I gotta keep going. It's too late to stop now. Eventually, I got all of them and I managed to get inside the barricade without dying as well. 5 minutes left. This is insane. Oh, come on, come on. Come on. Oh my gosh, I don't think I can make it. Wait. How much money I got? Please make it to 250. Make it 250. Yes. Oh, yes. Yes, okay. Okay, shit, my hand's sweating hard, bro. Where's the buy button? I can click anything. Oh my gosh, dude, man. Bro, I just lost all my hope a few seconds earlier just now. What a big surprise, and holy damn, it was a close call as well. At 23 hours and 59 minutes, I bought the mansion. It was good enough. I got all the goals except buying a supercar that could be achievable by finishing the last those missions, but whatever. I'm satisfied enough. Thanks for watching.